Good evening, I'm Davina Smith and welcome to a special edition of Nine's Late News. It is just after 1:30 p.m. in the UK, where it's been a busy few hours. New details of the Queen's funeral have just been released, and right now as we go to air, members of the royal family are mingling with mourners, including the new Prince and Princess of Wales who are at Sandringham. We'll have all those pictures for you in a moment. And then there is this in London right now, the city and its people guarding their Queen, her first full day resting in state at Westminster Hall. And the response has been extraordinary. These are live pictures right now, a change of the guard outside the queue spanning some 5 kilometres, and it's growing. More than 1.6 million people already so far have honoured the late monarch. And back home, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, along with the leaders of Pacific Island nations, are en route to London, departing Sydney around an hour ago. We'll have a full report from the airport shortly. But first, tonight, joining us, Charles Croucher, live outside Buckingham Palace. Charles, good evening.
Good evening, Davina. Good afternoon from London. You might be able to see Buckingham Palace behind me. The flag is at half-mast above Buckingham Palace, and that means that the King is at his residence just around the corner. He has been here and left today, and after all the grandeur and much of the gratitude of yesterday, a much more solemn day. Just the people filing through in that Westminster Hall where the Queen is laying in state. You saw the pictures a little earlier on, the changing of the guard. That happens every 30 or so minutes. That group that was there and just leaving is somewhat special. It involves two members of Liz Truss's cabinet. Ben Wallace, who is the Defence Secretary, the British equivalent of the Defence Minister, was standing guard. He has a military background. He served the British Army during the Troubles in Ireland, which of course was one of the Queen's diplomatic triumphs. The other member that was there is Alister Jack, who is a member of the cabinet. He is the Secretary of State for Scotland. Because of their military background, they were able to volunteer themselves to be part of that service. So a special moment amongst so much remembrance and so much respect that's being paid to the Queen there. The queue that we keep hearing so much about is currently well over 5 kilometres long. The line is taking between 6 and 7 hours, we're told, to get through. So that's pretty good considering exactly what the consideration was going to be, and the warnings of up to 20 or 24 hours. You can see people on your screen now that are walking through. It's really solemn in there. It's a mix. Some people take their hats off, some bow, some salute. There's been curtsies. Others have just cried. Regardless, it's all being done in silence. And I've been down there at Westminster Hall over the last couple of days. It's remarkable. I mean, you know, the British get credit for their politeness and their love of queuing. This is taking it to a whole new level, but their love of queuing and the love of the Queen is combining for this moment. These people have lined up for hours to spend 30 or so seconds just walking past the coffin, acknowledging the Queen, acknowledging her service for 70 years. That's just one site where there has been memorials and people paying respect today.
Charles, they're queuing in London. They've been queuing in Sandringham as well. We've seen a couple of thousand people waiting very patiently there for the new Prince and Princess of Wales, and we have those pictures for you now. They arrived around about an hour ago, and we only expected around 20 minutes for them on the ground there. It extended much longer, more than 45 minutes on the ground, spending time reading the cards and the notes left outside the Queen's estate. Of course, Sandringham's such a special place for the Queen. It's where she spelt Christmas, where she gathered her family together. And we know that William and Kate aren't just there to look at the floral tributes and the tributes left from the people around Sandringham, but also to spend time with the Queen's staff who had such a special bond with her. They are grieving as well at the moment, so this afternoon William and Kate will spend time with them as well. But we want to show you these pictures. We haven't edited them too much because we wanted you to get a real sense of what happened on the ground in Sandringham. Usually when William and Kate arrive, there's this a throng of noise from the crowd, lots of people yelling, trying to grab their attention. There was none of that. It was so quiet. And we watched as there was no just quick shakes of hands and thank you for your condolences and moving on. They both sat and talked to people for a period of time. We watched Kate just hold someone's hand for a good couple of minutes and really try and comfort them and calm them down. There you can see her accepting bunches of flowers that were left there as part of the floral tributes. Those people are waiting some time there for a chance to catch a glimpse of both of them and to share the grief that really Sandringham has been feeling. And Charles, it's not just in Sandringham. We also saw in Manchester earlier, Sophie and Edward, the Count and Countess of Wessex, spend time there on the ground as well.
Yeah, you can see there the Duke of York and his wife. They're taking their time and speaking to people, hugging. This has been a real feature, Davina, of the way the royals have approached the last week, and it is a week now, almost to the hour, since we found out about the Queen's passing. They've been very, it's a weird word to use, but tactile, hands-on, informal, out and greeting people. Now, traditionally, the senior royals would spread out across the kingdom to keep the kingdom united. This dates back to a time not just before mobile phones and televisions or radios, but a time when much of the population couldn't read and write. So you would have to herald the arrival of a new king and effectively keep the kingdom united. Of course, none of that exists now, but it has been a deeply personal tour for all these royals at a time when they're going through such grief. You know, it is a public display of strength during what must be very private moments of grief, and it's happening right across the United Kingdom. It will happen again tomorrow in Cardiff when the King heads there as well.
And there on the ground in Manchester, it was really quite eerie because as Sophie and Edward moved through the crowd, the bells were tolling and it was so quiet. And we've seen similar scenes just moments ago in Glasgow as well. Princess Royal Anne and her husband, Sir Tim Lawrence, spending some time on the ground there, meeting with people. We know that Princess Anne is still there at the moment.